Welcome students. In this particular class we will be looking at some intermediate Excel skills, tips and tricks. So this would act as a refresher to you all in starting the advanced Excel. Now we got a data set here. Now clearly you can see that it has got the heading as products, customer name, the first quarter sales, second quarter sales, third quarter sales and fourth quarter sales. Now this particular data set doesn't have a serial number. So the first thing that we need to do is we would have to include, or I should say add a column. So how are we going to add a column to this existing data set? Now I want to have a serial number, so naturally the serial number is going to be the first column. So A is the column here. So what you have to do is go to column A, right click on your mouse and choose insert. The moment you do that, you would get a column. Now apparently this column doesn't have the format that is being used in this particular data set. So we would like to have a format for this, right? Because it doesn't have a header here, and I would like to have this data set to be uniformly designed. So for that, click on this column and go to, or I should say click on the header, the first one, click on it and go to Format Painter. Just click on Format Painter. After you have clicked on Format Painter, you will get an icon like this. Now it is only copying the format, not the contents of the cell. So have that in mind. So all you need to do is just take this icon and press it here. Immediately you will get the format that is being used in the previous column. So now you just simply go over this particular cell and you enter serial number S.NO. So you don't have to do anything. You can clearly see the text is retained, the color of the text is retained, and the background that is being used is also retained in this particular cell. So click enter. So now you got a serial number. Now moving on, we need to have a serial number. Now if you were to see this particular data set, the data set is going on and on. As I've always mentioned to you, some of these data sets would run to several thousands of rows, and we should be prepared for that. So in this case it is ending at 278. So this is row number 278, and if you want to go up immediately from 278 or 279 to the first row, simply press Control and use the up arrow. So you will be able to navigate to the header or to the first cell, and simultaneously if you want to go to the bottom of the row or to the very last segment, press Control and use the downward arrow. So it will navigate all the way down. So this is not an ideal way, but having mentioned the end for this particular table, which was 278, you can navigate to the header using Control and up arrow. So that's the next one. Now we need to populate this with serial numbers, right? So what you have to do is enter number 1 there and use the down arrow, and then you enter 2 there and use the downward arrow. Now there is one thing you need to observe here. All the numbers would be right aligned and the text would be left aligned. So you can clearly see all the numbers here are right aligned and the text is basically aligned to the left. So that is the way Excel is built, but of course you can change the alignment. Now we need to make sure that the serial number is generated. So what you need to do is just click on this first cell like this, left click your mouse and highlight the cells, the first cell and the second cell, then go to the corner. You can clearly see the cross there. Once you get the cross, press the left click of your mouse and you roll it, or I should say roll that, or just make sure you are moving all the way, you're pulling it all the way to the end. In this case it's going to be 278. So this is I would say this is the easiest way to make sure the serial numbers are populated. So the moment you release your left key, you will get the serial numbers. So the serial numbers are already there. You can clearly see that. So that is the second tip. Now the third one. Now you can clearly see the customers' names are all in uppercase. So Anton, Bergs, and these people are buying the products Alice Mutton, right? So what I want to do is I would want to convert all those customers who have bought Alice Mutton up onto white. I think this is the last customer, and this customer is the last person to have bought this product. And what I wish to do is I would like to convert all of these customers up onto the 13th customer white into lowercase letters, right? So for that, what you need to do is just go to the adjoining column like this, press equal to, and enter the keyword lower. The moment you enter the keyword, there will be a suggestion there, but we don't need to use that. Just enter lower and open the parenthesis. After which, go to the first name, Anton, there, and close the parenthesis, and you click enter. So now you got Anton actually converted into lowercase. Now go back to the cell, go to the corner, the lower right end, and pull it all the way up until you see white. So if you were to release this, this would make sure the customers up until number 13, or I would say up until white, is converted into lowercase. Now what I wish to do is I would want to actually move this customer to the exact data set that we have. So how am I going to transport this to the actual data set? So for that, you need to highlight the respective cells all the way from Anton to white, and then go to Format Painter, click on it, and the moment you click on it, you will see a wave that is moving around the selected cells. After that, you need to go to this down arrow. You got a pointer there which is pointing down. Just click on it and choose this option, paste values icon number 1. Just click on this and then go here to the actual data set. Place your mouse on the first cell, press the shift, hold it down, and go all the way up onto white, and then you click enter. The moment you do that, you will get all of these names transported. Now this is tip 2. Now tip 3 is, what if I want to capitalize A and B and the other B? You know, you can clearly see the first letters. I want them all to be capitalized. So how am I going to do that? That could be done. First, you will need to come over here, highlight this entire thing, this entire cell set, go to clear and clear all. So you need to get rid of that from the adjoining column. Now go back to the first cell, which you can see here, which is occurring below I. Just click equal to and enter proper, P-R-O-P-E-R. Open your parenthesis and click on the first customer, Anton. Close the parenthesis and click enter. Now clearly you can see that Anton is now as a capitalized first letter. Now go to this corner and pull it all the way up onto white, because that is what we wanted, right? So now you can clearly see all the names are now carrying the first letter to be a capital letter. Now the next question comes, how am I going to transport this? So as you can see, the cells are all highlighted. Go to Format Painter, go to the downward arrow, click on it, and then choose this option which has got 1, 2, 3. Now go back to the actual data set, press your shift key and select all the names up onto white and click enter. You can see that the names are all now carrying the first letter to be a capital letter. Now go back to this column and go to clear and say clear all. That's it. So now you got all the names that you have selected to be in capital letters. So that's the tip. So now the next one comes is, now clearly you can see the sales. The sales are having, the first quarter has got 312, second quarter has got 1170, and then I shouldn't say second quarter, the next cell has got 1170, and then subsequently you got 1123. So this is the sales for the first quarter. Now, as a shop owner or as a company owner, you would want to know the sales that your organization has actually carried out for the first quarter. So for that, there are two ways in which you can do that. So you can go over here and you can say total sales, and then go to the adjoining cell and say equal to, and open a parenthesis and start entering them. Say 921.37, that's the first one, plus 2281 with a 50 cent there, plus 364 and 80 cents, and so on and so forth, and finally close the parenthesis and click enter. Now this is the sales that you can see all the way from 36480 to 92137, but we just do not have only these three inputs, right? The inputs are spread. Now it is highly, what would I say, it is stunning. Before Excel arrived, people were actually spending time in adding the data like this, like the way that I've showed you. But now with the, or I should say with the Excel coming into the picture, you don't have to do this anymore. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go to the cell. Whenever you want to clear, you need to clear using this clear button, not using del key, right? Because Excel is a software package. Even though you're using del key, the formats that the cell carries wouldn't be affected by that. And there is also a whole lot of complexities when you're using del keys. So have that in mind. So we should always resort to using the icon over here. So now that the cell is completely cleared, we can obtain the total sales using another two ways. The first way I showed you, manually entering the input. It's not wrong, but it is tedious. There is a second way where we could just say equal to and say sum, open the parenthesis. Now you can just talk about this, just indicate the first one. So what is the first one? D278. Now you need to sum up all the way up onto the last cell, right? This is the last cell you need to sum up. So let me just use that. So what is that cell? This cell is actually D2, right? D2, that is a cell. So what you need to do is just go over here to the very end and first highlight the first cell, D278, and then place a colon, and then you enter D2, close the parenthesis. So this technique which I've just shown you would highlight the entire column up onto D2. Now you give enter. So that is how you do it. So students, one more time I would like to demonstrate how exactly we can calculate the sum. So foremost what we have to do is choose the cell, place a equal to sign, enter sum, open the parenthesis. As you can see, this is row 278 and the column is D colon, and I wish to go all the way up onto D2. So that's the way we enter. Either you can enter it like this, or you can enter starting from D2 colon D278. So when you click enter, you will get the total sum for the first quarter. Now I would also like to calculate the sum for the second quarter, the third quarter and the fourth quarter concurrently, and I don't want to keep entering the formula. Sometimes it becomes really tedious. What comes to our help is the term called as flash fill. All you need to do is go to this cell, highlight it, go to the lower right end corner. The moment you place the mouse, you will see that cross. So just you place your mouse, left click on that particular cross and drag it. So clearly you can see the sum, the total sales for the second quarter, the third quarter and the fourth quarter. So that is how we calculate the sum. The next is how to calculate average sales. So for that we can use a similar function. Now you can clearly see the average sales a little bit going overboard. So for that, to extend it, just go to this column and slightly you pull it up, right? So you will get the sufficient space that you need. So just you go and make it bolder and then you pull it again so that you have that term being featured there. So coming to average sales, just place equal to, enter the keyword AB. The moment you enter the keyword, you will see a list of options being flagged down or being presented. So what you need to do is just go double click on average. So when you do that, the keyword would be placed in that cell. Now we would like to have the average of the sales starting from D278 all the way up onto D2. So you close the parenthesis, this is how it looks, and you click enter. So that is the average sales. So what is the meaning of this? Every customer on an average would be spending this much amount of money for the first quarter. So having got this value, let us extend this to quarter 2, to quarter 3 and to quarter 4. So all you need to do is take the mouse, keep it on the cell and drag it. So that's the average. Next, we would like to know the maximum amount or the maximum sales from a customer. In other words, I would like to know which customer has spent the maximum amount. In this case, we wouldn't be able to know the customer's name, but in Excel we can do that using the formula options. But what I would do here is I would just want to know the amount that has been spent. So for that, just enter maximum sales there, go to the cell, place a equal to sign and enter the keyword max. When you enter MA, you will see the options being placed there. So double click on max and you would want to know the maximum value for the first quarter. So that is extending from D278 and all the way to D2. So you close the parenthesis and you click enter. So this is the maximum value and you can clearly see that is over here. Of course, you can cross check with other entries and you will still find 2281.50 to be the maximum value or the maximum sales that has occurred for the first quarter. If you want to find the sales for the second quarter, all you need to do is just go highlight the cell, go to the lower right corner and pull it across and you get the maximum for the second quarter, for the third quarter and for the fourth quarter. Now obviously we would also want to find the minimum sales for the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter and fourth quarter also. So for that, place an equal to sign, enter MIN. The moment you enter MIN, you get the keyword, double click on it and enter the cell. I want the minimum value for the cells stretching from D278 all the way to D2. Close the parenthesis, click enter. So you can clearly see the dash sign. Dash means the minimum value spent that is entered in the table is $0. We can't do anything about that. All you need to do is just go and fill it up for the second quarter, third quarter and so on, because that is exactly what we are seeing in the data sheet. So having obtained the total sales, the average sales, the maximum sales and the minimum sales, it's time for us to do some formatting for the table. So the first thing what I wish to do is I would like to have a grid for the entire table. So for that, you can take these mouse all the way to the first, press and hold it and go all the way, highlight the entire cell, go all the way to the lowest. That's where it stops. After you have highlighted it, you can go to this particular icon here, the downward arrow, click on it and choose all borders. That's fine. So you have an all borders there. Of course, I don't have to have all borders for this. Simple as that. You can just go and right click and delete the entire column. So now you got a full-fledged table here. As I mentioned to you, I would like to use some color coding. So for that, go all the way to Q1 and highlight it. Highlight the entire column. So after highlighting the entire column, go to Conditional Formatting. Click on it, you will get a list of options. Now I would like to use color scales. Now in color scales, the greener the scale, the higher the value. Redder the scale, the lower the value. So I would like to choose this. So when I choose this, clearly you can see 2281 is dark in color, dark green in color, because that's the highest amount being spent, while you got other variations that you can see here. And the variations are actually from darker green and it heads towards red. So naturally you can see the colors are depicted in correlation to the weight of the data that's being present here. So that's one way to make the entire data set attractive. Now clearly you can see as I'm moving up, I'm not seeing the headers at all. The headers are totally vanished. Why? Because of the enormous size of the data set. Now what I wish to do is I would like to have the headers fixed. So for that, just go and highlight the header. Then go to View and choose Freeze Panes. In Freeze Panes, I would like to freeze top row. Keep the row visible while scrolling through the set of the worksheet. Click on it. And if you were to scroll, the headers are intact. The next tip I wish to give you is I have actually seen a lot of different items. I see aniseed syrup, Boston crab meat, I see chef's Anton's Cajun seasoning. So there are several products. Now we can filter these products. So for that, what I wish to do is I would like to highlight the header and then I have to go to data and I have to choose this icon. Now this is a filtering icon. Now let me show you how it works. When I click on it, you see the product. Say you click on the product and you only want to see the customers for Alice Mutton. Just deselect all other items apart from Alice Mutton. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm just deselecting all other items so that you will know what I'm trying to infer. So these are all have to be deselected. So this one will give us the exact picture of sales for Alice Mutton. You see so many items are there. So okay, I need to deselect this. Okay, so just Alice Mutton. So the moment I click OK, this would give me the sales that had occurred for Alice Mutton. So this is the sales that had occurred for Alice Mutton, and these are the customers, right? Of course, Anton did not buy anything for Q1, but he did buy for Q2, right? So they're all customers. So if a customer is not buying for one quarter, definitely he or she would have bought for the other quarters. So that is how we get the filters working. Now, if you can clearly see, if you want to revert back, just press Ctrl Z. The data would be reverted back. Now, this sheet is already in alphabetical order, so we don't need to do that formatting, right? And I would like to show you one more thing. Now, if you would remember, I was demonstrating autofill. So what did I do? I entered 1, then I went down, I entered 2, then for serial number. So in this case, it just displays 1, 2, 3 with $sign, but don't worry about it. Now, if you want to make sure or to populate the entire data set with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all up to say 200, all I did is that I highlighted it and I pulled it like this, right? But you don't have to imagine you have to fill serial numbers up until 1000, right? You don't have to do it like this. So let me go to this particular column over here. So I will just enter 1. Okay, just go here to the first cell, make sure that you have 1 entered, and go to this fill, click on this fill, and you choose series, and in series choose column, and in step value choose 1, and the stop value choose 500. So imagine you want to have 500 entries, right? Or it can even be 1000. So the moment you say OK, you can clearly see that 500 entries being present here. You see that? It's not all the time easy to hold the mouse and drag it all the way to 500. So that's the beauty of this particular tip. So let me show this to you one more time. All you need to do is go here to the cell. Okay, probably let me clear it off. Go here to the cell, enter 1, click enter, then highlight it, go to home tab and choose fill, and fill choose series. In series make sure the step value is 1, and choose column, go to stop value, say 1000. The entries, there are 1000 rows, so click enter. So you can clearly see 1000 numbers would be entered there, all within a flash, just like that, right? So that's the next tip I wish to give you. Now, one more thing I want to tell you is this is also a tip. Now imagine from here you would want to go to the last cell, right? From here, say serial number 1, you want to go to the last cell. Of course, you can use the scroll button to go to the last cell, but it is not always advisable to use the scroll button. You can, because sometimes the data set would be, as I mentioned to you, it would be running to several thousands and thousands of rows. In times like that, you need to have a shortcut key. So this is a shortcut key I wish to give it to you. If you want to go to the last cell, press Ctrl and enter end. You will go to the very last cell. So in this case, this is the last cell that we have used. Okay, this is the last cell. Right, now you want to go back, just press Ctrl and home. You'll go back to your first cell. So that's another tip that I wish to give you for this particular class. So we have learned a considerable number of tips and tricks and skills, and I hope to come back again to give you another set of tips, tricks and skill sets in Excel. Thank you, students. Have a nice day.